welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. We take a whole stack of sources, pull out the most vital information, and give you the insights you need to get up to speed fast.
And just for everyone tuning in, we should say that this deep dive is another podcast from the Speakeasy English channel. Today we're diving into, well, one of the grandest and most complex cities in the world.
That's right. Our mission today is a kind of whirlwind tour of London. We're mapping out its most famous streets, its most characteristic neighborhoods. We're really trying to explore the arteries of the city.
Arteries is a good word for it. We're looking at what defines its whole cosmopolitan character. And specifically, I think, the friction between these huge commercial centers and the other parts.
The alternative parts, the residential pockets that give it its soul.
Exactly. We're hoping to uncover some of the history, the cultural hotspots, and maybe a few surprising details hidden along the way. So I think we should start where the city's heart really beats, commercially at least.
In the commercial and governmental spine. So Westminster and Soho.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the absolute giant of retail, Oxford Street. Our sources all agree this isn't just a big shopping street. It's one of the most important commercial roads on the planet.
The scale is it's hard to get your head around. It stretches for 2.5 kilometers, over 300 stores.
And these are the big ones. We're talking Selfridges, John Lewis, H&M, Zara. The place is driving billions in revenue.
But what's really fascinating and what you'd never guess just by walking down it is how all that modern commerce it completely papers over a really ancient and actually quite dark history.
Dark? How do you mean?
Well, the street itself, it's built right on top of an old Roman road that connected Colchester and Hampshire.
No way.
Yeah. And then much later, in the 16th century, it had this grim purpose. It was the path that condemned prisoners walked, their final journey from Newgate Prison to the gallows at Tyburn.
Wow. So we're the Marble Arches now, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
That idea, a path of execution, now lined with luxury goods. That's such a London contrast. And I guess it still puts on a huge spectacle, just a very different kind now.
A much happier one. It's famous for its Christmas lights display. That tradition started way back in 1959.
And it's still a massive media event, right? They always get some huge celebrity to turn them on in mid-November. It kind of turns this commercial strip into a civic centerpiece for a few months.
It does. And then right next door, you've got its more elegant neighbor, Regent Street. You can't really talk about Regent Street without talking about the architecture.
The design of it all. It was all planned by John Nash, who, many people say is the best architect in UK history. He brought this classical, sweeping feel to it.
It was all about intentional elegance. And it houses these really exclusive brands. You've got Liberty with that amazing mock Tudor building, and of course Hamleys, the giant toy store.
And where those two worlds collide, Oxford and Regent, you get Oxford Circus.
Next.
And the intersection itself is famous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's the only one in central London where you can cross diagonally. It creates this scramble crossing.
That X pattern, yeah. It's literally where all that commercial chaos just crashes together and all that energy flows right down into Piccadilly Circus.
Ah, Piccadilly. Instantly recognizable. The giant neon screens, the statue of Eros. It's the heart of the entertainment district. Theaters, cinemas, all branching off from it.
Exactly. But if Oxford Street is about the power of money, just a short walk away, you find a different kind of power, the nerve center.
We're moving into government territory.
Yeah.
Downing Street and Whitehall.
Right. And Downing Street is, the global symbol of the British government. Number 10 for the Prime Minister, number 11 for the Chancellor. It's amazing that two sort of normal-looking houses hold so much political weight.
And there's that visible security, those huge black metal gates. They weren't always there, were they?
No, not at all. They were put in specifically as a security measure. Back when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister and the threat of terrorism was high, the street basically turned into a fortress overnight.
And that feeling kind of extends down Whitehall, the main avenue running from Parliament up to Trafalgar Square.
It's the administrative backbone of the UK. All of the big departments are there. Ministry of Defence, the Royal British Cavalry, and really importantly, the Cenotaph.
The National War Memorial. It's such an important spot for remembrance ceremonies. So Whitehall isn't just about making policy, it's also about national memory.
It's a complete picture of rigid structured power, which then begs the question, right? How does a city so defined by that kind of control also foster the complete opposite, the bohemian chaos you see in a place like Notting Hill?
That's the perfect transition. Let's leave the stone and seriousness of Westminster for the color and multicultural vibe of Notting Hill.
Yeah, you have to go to Notting Hill if you want that authentic London feel. It's famous for its Caribbean heritage, but also just this incredible multicultural mix. You see it in the bars, the restaurants, with food from all over the world.
And the heart of it all has to be Portobello Road. That market is world famous.
Especially for antiques and secondhand stuff. Our sources say the main market days, Friday and Saturday, are just unmissable. It's so atmospheric. You hear about celebrities just browsing the stalls all the time.
And beyond the market, there's the look of the place, those rows of terraced houses all painted in those bright pastel colors, and you've got the Mews.
Ah, the Mews. They're such a classic London thing.
Explain what they are for anyone who doesn't know.
They're these little cobbled alleys, usually behind the bigger, grander houses. They were originally built as stables with quarters for the servants living above them.
But now they're some of the most expensive and desirable houses in London.
Totally repurposed. And speaking of unique spots, Notting Hill has some hidden gems. There's the Museum of Brands, Packaging and Advertising, which is like this time tunnel back to the Victorian era. And then there's the Party,
The Notting Hill Carnival.
the biggest street carnival in Europe. End of August, the whole area just explodes with Caribbean music, food, color. It's incredible.
From that bohemian charm, let's jump across town to something edgier. Raw energy. Let's talk about Camden Town.
Oh, Camden is a whole different world. It's known for its market, sure, but also for this really alternative atmosphere. You see a lot of Gothic fashion, tattoos, piercings. It's a place that celebrates being different.
And you can't just pop into Camden for an hour. You need a full morning at least to even begin to explore the markets.
Yeah.
The main Camden market, the Stables Market.
The Stables Market's fascinating. It's in an old horse hospital. And here's a great tip from the sources for anyone visiting. The food stalls. There are tons of them, with food from all over. If you wait until later in the morning as they're starting to pack up, the prices drop like a stone. You can get a huge tray of food for just a couple of pounds.
That is a brilliant piece of local knowledge. You also mentioned a specific shop that just sums up Camden's vibe.
Oh, yeah. The store is called Cyberdog.
Yep.
You have to see it to believe it. It's got a DJ inside, dancers, techno music blasting, and the clothes are just wild. Cybernetic outfits, astronaut suits, things like that.
Sounds about right. And for the full experience, Sunday is the day to go, right? When it's at its busiest.
Definitely.
Okay, for our last neighborhood, let's look at King's Road in Chelsea. It has a very different kind of history. It started as a private road for royalty, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was a private royal route from London to Hampton Court Palace in the 18th century, only for the monarchy.
Which is so ironic, given what it became.
It's the ultimate irony. By the 1960s and 70s, this exclusive royal road had become the absolute global center of alternative fashion and culture. The Rolling Stones were always there, and it's where designers like Vivienne Westwood basically invented the whole punk look.
So we've seen organized power, we've seen spontaneous chaos. Let's shift gears one more time and talk about streets that are famous for, well, for art and fiction. We have to start with the most famous fictional address in the world.
Baker Street.
221B Baker Street, Sherlock Holmes.
And of course, there's a museum there now, right at that address. It's also super close to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, so that whole area is a huge tourist magnet.
From fiction to very real musical history, Abbey Road. It's famous for one single image.
The album cover. The Beatles' 1969 album, with them all walking across the crosswalk.
And that crosswalk is still a pilgrimage site. Fans are always there trying to recreate the photo, stopping traffic.
Oh, the drivers must love it. But the key thing is that Abbey Road Studios, right there, is not a museum. It's still one of the most important recording studios in the world. Pink Floyd, Queen, U2. So many legends have recorded there.
Okay, popping back to Soho for a minute. There's Carnaby Street.
Carnaby Street, totally tied to the swinging 60s, pop culture, music, fashion. It was famous for its little boutiques where bands like the Rolling Stones would go to buy their really bold, out-there clothes.
And if we're talking about streets defined by intentional history, we have to go back to the Mall.
The Mall is pure ceremony. It's that grand avenue connecting Buckingham Palace straight to Trafalgar Square. It's not just a road, it's a stage.
You can see that in the color of the road surface itself. That reddish tarmac. It looks like a giant red carpet.
That was the whole point. It was intentionally made with that color to look like a ceremonial carpet for huge national events, like Trooping the Color. It's pure choreographed spectacle.
And for our final stop, let's find somewhere a bit quieter, more intellectual. Let's head to Bloomsbury and its famous squares.
Like Russell Square, Bedford Square, Gordon Square. Russell Square is right near the British Museum and the University of London. It's actually been restored using the original 19th century plans to keep its character.
It also has a memorial, doesn't it, for the victims of the 77 bombings in 2005.
It does on the south side. It's a very poignant spot. And nearby you have Bedford Square, which is a perfect example of that historical exclusivity we talked about.
Built for the upper middle class.
Exactly. And originally, it was surrounded by a gate. Only the residents had a key. It was a private garden for a select few. Today, it's mostly offices, but you can still feel that original design.
And you contrast that with Gordon Square, which now belongs to the University of London.
Right. It's completely open to the public now, always full of students. It shows that shift over time from private enclave to public space.
We've covered so much ground, from Roman roads that became shopping meccas to the seat of government, the punk rebellion. London is just a city of these incredible sharp contrasts.
It really is.
And if you're planning on trying to see all this, navigating this huge city, we should leave you with one really practical piece of advice, especially if you're in a group.
Yes. London's public transport is amazing, but it can be expensive. We have to mention the group day travel card. If you're in a group of 10 or more people, it is by far the cheapest way to get around.
It gives you unlimited travel across almost the whole city, zones 1 to 6, which even includes the trip to and from Heathrow Airport.
The one catch is that it's an off-peak ticket, so you have to use it after 9:30 in the morning on weekdays. Weekends are fine all day.
And you have to travel together as a group. Which brings us to our final thought.
We've talked about all this intentional design. The mall, paved to look like a royal carpet. Those Bloomsbury squares, gated off for the wealthy. What does that tension, that deep historical tension between public access and exclusive heritage, tell you about Britain today?
And maybe, which modern London street do you think best embodies the future of the city? Something that moves beyond those old constraints, while still remembering its past. Something to think about next time you find yourself walking on that very deliberate, very red pavement.